Yeah, I'm sorry I got bumped out. The power was running on backup and that also went off. I think this will become a regular feature of Saturdays, and maybe we'll have to do a kneel at 9 on Sunday mornings, maybe 9 o'clock in the morning, if that's okay with most of you. I don't know how long will this backup work, but I hope it's going to stay as long as we are together. Thank you, Anuradha. Thank you so much for coming in. I hope it's been a wonderful evening with the thunderstorm and the rain and whatnot. And interestingly, this thing of we talk about technology advancement and so many. I am a kind of a little bit of a skeptic about what is said and what really experienced by us. Every time there's a storm, a thunderstorm or a rain, there's a power cut and the power gets shut down from the power station. What kind of technology advancement are we talking of? And more importantly, we are living in this city which is called the IT capital of the country. It's called the Silicon Valley of India. So much of hypocrisy, right? Somewhere. I'm not one of those activists. I'm not one of those who's here to bash the system or the establishment or the government. All I'm saying is that can we get real? I mean, whether we talk of internet, how often do you get a 4G or a 3G even for that matter? How uninterrupted, how reliable, how available is the system for you? And I mean, internet comes much later. What about power? And imagine this about peripheries of Bangalore. What about the suburbs? What about the smaller cities? And we're talking of India incredible. We are talking of India growing. We are talking of all sorts of things, Achedin and whatnot. So anyway, the idea was not to get there. The idea was that between the last talk I had with you all and today, I have coincidentally received, "Hey Madhukar, good evening, thank you so much appreciate taking time to join me. Please be there till the end, because I need people like you and Anuradha and the ones who are regular visitors to tell me sense or I talk nonsense. So be there with me." So as I was saying, a couple of requests that had come to me with a very interesting topic. Guess what? The topic was, how can parents get to discover potential in their children? And I don't see the person who was very emphatic about it. Anindita, I believe she is somewhere in Switzerland at this point in time, but that's okay. Now this is a topic which has been intriguing me quite a bit, and to tell you very frankly, I'm not a master in this topic, but one of my sons, out of the 3 sons that I have career crafted him. Sandeep, thank you so much for joining. Good old bro, finally you're back with me online. Stay there till the end. Prasad Khaprare, I wish you can, one small taan of yours, if it was 2-way, would have been wonderful. But thank you so much. I will also do a Facebook Live with my Swaratmik music, mindful music also. Prasad is a vocalist and he is a shishya of Ustad Rashid Khan Sahab, a celebrity who everyone knows, and we have just connected because of Suratma. Vikas, say bro, what's up buddy? You're becoming younger by the day and you've joined me today, the old man. Good, thank you, stay till the end. So as I was saying, people want to know what can they do to discover and find out the potential of their children. More uncomfortable topic, what can you do to determine the potential of your children? Yeah, I remember when I was in Kolkata, in my next door neighborhood, I think it was a Sunday, and I was reveling on a well-earned weekend, and suddenly it was disturbed, it was kind of shattered by the wailing of a child and the yelling of a mother. I knock at the door and the mother opens and said, "What's happening? Can I help you?" And you know what the mother says? The mother says, "Look at this boy. Tomorrow is his exam and he's reading comics. That's why I'm scolding him and I'm disciplining him and I'm trying to bring sense in him that he must study right now and not read comics because he should feel responsible about his exams." I don't want to say what you are saying in your heart. I don't want to echo that voice. But I'll share with you what I asked. I said, "Why are you taking this guy of pain?" And the mother looked at me, typical like any Bengali woman, Ranachandi, with red eyes. "Who the hell are you? He is my child. I have the freedom to do whatever I want with my child." And something dawned upon me at that point in time. I asked myself this question and asked the question from the woman also. Do you really believe he is your child? Just because you have borne him for 9 months or 10 months or whatever, he becomes your child. Just because you have parented your child, do you really possess him? Do you really own him? At the most, maybe you're a caretaker, maybe you're a custodian. But when will this reality dawn on you or on us? Why I'm saying you is because never ever, in fact, I have gone to the other extreme. I've completely disowned my children. I don't think I've ever been a father to any of my children. I've been a friend, I've been a mentor, I've been a coach. Sometimes one of those bullies. But I have never been able to be a father because somewhere I believe that I'm not qualified to be a parent. Did I go to any school of parenthood? I was pushed into parenthood. So are all the mothers. And they mother the way they were mothered. Fathers father the way they were fathered. Is there a certificate that this is the right way to father and this is the right way to mother? I remember a mother complained that his child is very active, very angry, very irritable. And I asked the mother, when you were carrying the child for those 9 months, share with me your experiences of life. Times. And she said that most of the times I would be snapping at people. Now look at this. Who do you think would have shaped the consciousness of that child even while the child was in the womb? It's the mother. If I ask her to take responsibility for it, will she? No. At the same time, she wants the child to be responsible for the examination that is there tomorrow. So my guys, I'm not trying to bash up parents. What I'm trying to say, is a child, and interestingly, it's the most intriguing gift of nature to the mankind. Let's be humble. Let's accept we hardly know a child. We have hardly known ourselves as children. And let's be humble enough to be taught by the child as to what we must do to be able to enable the child to find the best for him or her. This guy and very cranky guy. So if he is hungry and he's looking for milk, and if it doesn't arrive in 30 seconds, he can blow the top off. And that's what happened one of the days. And I was there. And I don't know what happened intuitively. I went and put on a good instrumental music. Within a few seconds, the sky was quiet. And after 10 or 15 minutes, which was the time which was taken for the mother to arrive with a bottle of milk, the child was almost half asleep. When he grew up, by another 3 or 4 months, or maybe when he was close to a year, many a times he would not want to go to sleep in the night like most children do. And I would play music for him. So somewhere, intuitively, and when I say intuitively, there is data behind intuition, I'm going to share that. This child responds to music. This child relates to music. Now, what was the data I had? Why am I calling it intuitive? I have observed this child because I have grown up with this child. I repeat, not that the child has grown up with him, but I have grown up with this child. That whenever I will play music, his fingers would move. His right hand fingers will move like this. His left hand will move like this. Initially, I thought it was something childish. He was just responding to the rhythm and things like that. And then one day I thought, no. That children carry memories from their previous births. So maybe there's some memory he's carrying from his previous birth, or maybe his prenatal stage. Who knows? So let me figure out. And there I was. And today this child, trust me, he has a sonorous voice. He can listen to any song and pick it up and start singing. He's been gifted a guitar and he loves showcasing himself with the guitar to anybody who comes home. What do you think have I done? I've not done anything as a parent. I have just been observing. Be observant. To me, a child is the most wondrous creation of God. I'm asking you, in your humdrum of life, of running from pillar to post, how much time do you spend to just sit down and watch that, that nebula? Who is this? Why is he like this? Why is he doing what he is doing or she is doing? And you will get the answers. It's not so difficult. Yeah, there is one more thing. It's true that all of us are in a rut, are running, not all of us, most of us. I can see Prasad, Vikas, I don't know about Deepak, I don't know about Shomirda. Shomirda, Thank you so much. Namaskar. Good evening. Thank you for joining me. Much appreciate for taking time off. We are not in a rut, but the world is in a rut and they want their child to be in a rut. As if to assuage the guilt that I am in a rut and I'm not spending enough time with my child. So let me put him after school. Okay, first is he goes to the school, and then once the school is over, then he perhaps goes to what is it called, a day school to finish his homework, and from there he goes to the art class, and then to the swimming class, and then to the tennis class, and then Vedic maths and abacus and whatnot. And by the time he comes home, he can't even say he's tired. He's so tired. And the parents are also tired. So they conk off. They have dinner and they conk off 5 days about you screwing up your lifestyle. But is that the lifestyle you want to gift to that wonder? You are trying to expose him to all the different facets and the talents that you think he should learn and be a rounded person, just in case he is required to display his excellence in any one of these. But that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that. How sharply unique we are. In fact, many a times I share with people that there's 7 billion species of human being, which means as many people are there on the surface of this planet, those many species of human being, because each one of us are sharply unique. Then why the hell are you sending him to so many different places? I understand the guilt bit. I understand the fact that you want to keep him busy while you are busy. That's all fine. But why don't you keep him? But let's say you find that with, let's say, music. So why don't you do something so that he's busy with music for these 4-5 hours that you're wasting of his, tiring him out because he's not interested. He's tired not because of the physical effort, but because he's not interested. And you know what you're also doing? You're planting the seeds, the early seeds of a conditioning, a voice which is telling him, I can't decide for myself. You are planting. How do I find out whether it's music, it's tennis, it's swimming, it's painting, it's dance or whatsoever? We'll come to that. But before that, let me share with you a story. There's this school in Mangalore called Ludes, St. Ludes. And the principal, Grace Norona, it was my great privilege and honor to be invited by her to spend time with students of plus 2, class 11 and 12, to help them figure out for themselves (2008), yeah, most probably around that time. So we went to Mangalore. We spent 3 days with these kids. I'll share with you what we did maybe in brief later. And they went back home. There were about 15-20 of them. They went back home very, very energized. They also took with them what I call as a potential map, which is like a map of who they originally are, a map of their uniqueness. And I was happy that somewhere they are going to pursue this map and find the right career for themselves. And a little girl, very cheruby, very energetic, and she calls and says, "Sir, I need your help." I said, "Tell me." He said, "Sir, when I did my potential mapping and when I found what my potential map suits best to in terms of a career option, it was jewelry designing. And I now want to go for the entrance of the jewelry designing test. Or was it that she was, she was already through with the test, the entrance test. I now want to go with the education. I think it was a 2 or 3 years curriculum. I want to go through the curriculum, but my parents are not allowing me. I said, okay, so they must be having a reason. Tell me, what's the reason? No, I'm not sure what reason they have, but they are wanting me to go to Kasturba Gandhi Medical College, which is supposed to be one of the best medical colleges in Bangalore. Look at this. I have the best facility available, perchance, in the locality that I stay, and being a doctor is a good thing to do. It's a very assured. And in my old age, I'll be taken care of, perhaps. You must be cursing me for saying all these things, but these thoughts pass by your mind. And so parents are not allowing her. It's not that they are stopping her. They are not even allowing her to pursue her career in jewelry designing. Parents, who are you to stop that? Let her fail, come back to you. Let her be the prodigal daughter. She would have learned by then how to live life. She would have learned much more than you how to live life. She would teach you and perhaps find the right way. All said and done, she is as much guided by the Supreme. Stop her from going to something which she is passionate, not just passionate as in instinctively passionate, but it has been brought out cognitively and she carries it with her. No, this is not done. This is cruelty. So I think I've made you guys wait for a very long time. You must be asking, okay, Indrudin, so tell us, how do we get to know what is in store? How do we get to know what is that one thing that this guy is going to excel in? Okay, very clear. Okay. This time it's not a story, it's real life. My eldest son, who happens to be the creative director, the youngest creative director in Lowland TAS, Indrashish Mukherjee. If you have seen the paper boat ad, it's his creation. Okay. So when he was 4 or 5 or 7 years old, I knew nothing of what he's going to be. Neither did I ever ask him, because that would have been a very foolish question. But then, 2 things I did. One is, I allowed him to dream. I gave him paper and pastel and said, draw your dreams. And he would, like nobody's business, come back from school most of the days, and each day there will be a new dream that he will present to me. And it would be my job to decipher what the painting meant. Okay, maybe I am gifted to decipher. Go to any psychologist, they will be able to help you, and they'll be glad to help you decipher what is this child dreaming about. But more than that, my question to you, have you encouraged, not allowed, encouraged your child to dream? No. I think the first thing that you would have done is, come on, shove that dream. Engineering, chartered accountancy, IAS, whatever. You know what? I must share with you. I don't want to name the region in this. In this country, parents want their sons and daughters, as soon as they are ready to go for computer science, more sons I'm talking about, quickly get graduated. Make sure they get the best marks so that they get selected in the campus by the software engineering companies, and within 2 years from that time they start bidding for the highest dowry. Do you see the motivators? You need to get rid of that. You need to get rid of that not because of the fact that this is not right, but because of that you're which doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the source. So coming back to Gublu, my eldest son, he completed his he completed his 10 in St. Joseph, Kannur, and then he came to Bangalore and he said, okay, now I need to go to college. Finding the right schools and the colleges for my children. Another thing I just want you to know, don't queue up. If you have to queue up for a college, that college is not an educational institution, it's a commercial institution. You won't get anything out there. I remember having read Guru Nanak's Childhood, and I think that still holds good. Why he did not get schooled was because one day he was in his class and he was finding it very meaningless. So the teacher went up to him and asked him, "My son, why are you finding it so boring?" He said, "I'm finding it boring because you are teaching us everything. Knowledge about everything is there that is being taught in the school. But I don't find a period where you teach us about who I am." So fundamentally, let's not go there. That's another subject by itself, educational systems. So this guy landed up, and again influenced by his mother and my own archaic belief that a good student must go for physics, chemistry and maths. That's what I selected for him. And he was also kind of naive and he said, fair enough, not a problem. And it was not very long when one day he comes home fuming and said, "Who asked you to give me this combination?" I said, "Why?" He said, "I'm zilch in physics and maths. I just don't relate to these two subjects." I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." So I went back to the school. Can be done? They said, yes, why not? Physics remains, but maybe we can take off maths and put EVS, that's environmental science. I said, yeah, that's fantastic, because environmental science is a growing science in the face of the fact of the cruelty that we are imposing upon nature. Sooner or later, environmental science would be a subject that people would like to be groomed in so that they can get a job as an environmental scientist perhaps. I was fooling myself, I was fooling him, I was fooling the world, but I said, okay, for the time being, maybe I have saved my skin. And he passed class 12. He passed class 12 and one day he was sitting home. He did not go for any campus, by the way. I asked him, "So what do you want to do?" He said, "I'm not very sure, but I'm very, very keen in football. I like playing football," and he used to play good football. And he used to jam up with me in music also. Of course, his music was rock in nature and mine was pure classical. So he said, these are the two things that I'm good with. So I said, better give me 3 days time. I want 3 days, full 3 days of yours, uninterrupted. And I think we'll figure out together what is it that is going to be most joyful, most meaningful for you, and also will help you to earn your livelihood. In those 3 days, we went back to his childhood. From his early childhood to this day when I was doing his discovery, to find out the peak moments when he has been at his best, when he has been the most joyful being, when he has been the most proud being. And from there, I tried to figure out, was there some recurring theme that was coming up in terms of his abilities, in terms of his decision making, to his life. The 3 days of conversation culminated with me discovering for him what are some of the values that he is driven by, what are some of the talents that are there inherent in him, maybe got etched in his early childhood or perhaps were inherited by him. Hey Rajiv, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Rita Di, thank you for joining. Very, very nice of you. Very appreciative about the fact. Akansha, I'm sure we have talked about this in the past and this would be of some use to you going forward. For Kuhu, I hope she's doing well. So, values, talents, and most importantly, it was not easy. I could help him discover what was his purpose of life. So with these 3 ingredients, we put together what is called a potential map. Now please understand, we are all gifted in multiple ways. And the outcome of what is going to best suit us is not just one of them, but a chemistry of all this, which needs a knack to be able to blend these ingredients to come out with a recipe. It's more like a chef. So it took me some time to figure out that this guy wanted to express himself without any conditions, unconditional expressionist. This guy also had in him that streak of being able to create an impact. He always wanted to leave an impression on the other. So it's not about just an expression, but he carried this desire in him to be able to impress the other. And finally, I think at a calling level, he felt very, very deeply, very compassionately for people like him who are common people. If he could reach out to them and if he could help them to share what they wanted to, and if he can put that across to the rest of the world. So guess what? It's very simple. It's actually, well, it's not so simple, but also it's very simple. So I put the 3, these recurring themes, as I call them, in front of him and said, what do you think best suits you? And it's not that the child does not know the potential. He just needs to be prodded to be able to articulate it. And the moment I asked him, he said, something to do with media studies. I said, why media studies? He said, maybe I would like to write, maybe I would like to do a television show, or maybe I would like to create a film. And there was no looking back. He appeared for the entrance examination for the journalism and communication course in Manipal University, went through it the first time he attended, completed it, came back home again. And this is the most difficult part, mind you. I don't like soliciting to people for jobs. Not for my jobs, not for my children's jobs definitely, or for anybody's. So I have a good friend in the advertising industry. He's been a CEO of an advertising industry. Today he's a consultant in Delhi. So I called him up. I said, look, can you mentor this guy and help him to find out, now that he is a graduate with media studies and mass communication, can he go through some internship? So he said, well, let me find out. And he found out something which was UN funded in Delhi. He went there, stayed for a month and came back. And look at this, I'm going to share with you something. He came back. He said, this was all research and I'm not keen on research. How many children today will have the guts to come back saying, I don't want to do this because I'm not keen on it? He was, because I have never curbed his courage to make a choice. I have never made him feel that he is driven by the authority. If he is good today, it's because he has the ability and the willingness to make choices, and he does that. Okay, sometimes he's called crazy, but that's all right. I think in this world of crazy people, a few people who are not crazy are always looked as crazy. So he came back, and then I said, okay, fair enough. You do one thing. You practice with your expression. You keep writing as much as you can. And he didn't like writing on this computer. Very strange guy. So he will write on a piece of paper with his pen. He had a notebook and some very intense writing. I have read his writings. I write too. But I think I bow down to his authenticity, the way he writes. It can shake people up. And it's not about his flair in writing. It's about the authenticity of his expression. No holds barred. So anyway, he was in touch with his classmates who had not got campus recruited. Again, he didn't want to go for campus. He was very clear, I don't want to go to a corporate, I don't want to go to one of those sham, pretensive institutions which will bore me, and I will be there making a few bucks, and every 2-3 years I'll be jumping jobs. It doesn't interest me. So I was fine with that. And then one day he comes home. He says, I have a proposal that has come to me from one of the ad agencies. I said, what? He said, I kind of barged in and met the creative director of this agency along with a friend of mine, and I asked him, can I be a trainee here? And he said, yes, you can be. However, you will not be paid anything, and you will have to bear your expenses. So because I was his ATM, he wanted to get a clean chit on that. I said, please go ahead. Not a problem at all. Though we were staying very far off, this agency's office was somewhere close to MG Road, and we were staying somewhere deep south in Bangalore. I said, please, for all practical purposes, at least this guy will not be sitting at home and playing rocks and blues and writing all the intense stuff, but he will actually be putting it across and sharing with people. And he was supposed to be on internship for, I think, 6 months. I don't know how long he was there. Was it 6 months, more or less? One day he comes and says, I have an interview tomorrow. I said, for what? He said, they have given me a chance to be interviewed to be an employee in this organization. For the first time, or maybe for one of those rare moments, and a trainee is being given an opportunity to be an employee. I said, that's fantastic. So both of us went out, we did shopping, because he would live in jeans, dangerously low, and his t-shirts. He had dreadlocks, all sorts of things. He didn't have a shoe to wear. He was wearing those canvas shoes, things like that. So we went out shopping, and next morning he went all decked up, a little uncomfortable, like a Charlie Chaplin, and came back in the evening. He said, I have the job with me. So that was the beginning of a history that got created. I think that was, when was it? 2010 or so. In last year, he became the creative director of Lowland Taz. He's been with Lowland Taz. Many a times he has come and said, it's boring, I want to leave. I don't want to work for advertising, which is for selling products. I want to do public interest advertising. I want to go and travel. But trust you, if his calling is being answered, if his talents are being invested, if his values are driving him, I know, doesn't matter which agency he is in, he will live life joyfully, he'll live life meaningfully. Livelihood would be a very, very small byproduct of the entire thing. Good evening, Pratima ji. Namaskar. Thank you for joining me. बहुत अच्छा लगा. So this is how I have been with my children. I'm not saying I have been the perfect father. In fact, many a times in my own solitary times, I miss being a father because I've never been a father. I used to tell my son, Gublu I'm talking about, that I've been a good mentor, I know, I've been a good coach to you, I know, but maybe I've not been a good father. But I don't know what it is to be a good father. I think this is what I feel good with. Observing the child in his or her spontaneous action. That's the point number one. Please write down. Right from the time the child is a baby, an infant, you will see signs. Just write them down. Just make observations. Don't interpret them. You will get a meaning later on. Like I talked about this other kid who would move his fingers. I know pretty sure that one day he's going to be a great musician. So do that. You need to invest time, buddy. You can't just be, dangling your ID on your necks and go to work and come back home, go to work and come back home and live with your child on weekend. No, that's not it. You've been gifted with a child. That's an asset for you. Invest in it more than the stocks that you're investing in. Trust me, he'll pay you back. Not in taking care of your old age. That's another thing. Don't dump your old age on your children. He is not responsible to take care of you in your old age. It is out of his goodness if he does that. But don't groom him up or bring him up believing or with the calculation that when I am going to retire, he should be able to have a dispensable income of so much for me to take care of myself. That's cruel. That's very, very cruel. Never ever do that. Because, trust me, you and your child actually are not related. You're related only in terms of being a custodian to your child. Maybe somebody else's child, if you really deserve, will come and take care of you in your old age. So, coming back to what do we need to do? Observing the child in spontaneous behavior. Number 2, dream. We have killed dreams of our children. We have killed our own dreams. And maybe we want our children also not to dream. No, don't do that. Encourage your child to dream. Paint the dream. Sing the dream. Dance the dream. Show it to you. My second son, Pooja and me, we asked, so what do you want to become when you grow up? You know what he said? A blue butterfly. Now imagine. Pratima, Dada, expectations hurt, but we don't leave our expectations by. You don't leave your expectations, but please carry one more expectations, and that is that your expectations may not be met. Can you carry that, please, Pratima? Then your expectations won't hurt. Carry millions of expectation and then 1 plus million. The 1 plus million expectation is maybe our expectations will not be met. Then you will be at peace. Okay, coming back. Help your child to dream. Capture their dreams in whatever way you can. You will find a theme. You will find a recurring theme, as I talked about. And trust me, none of this is rocket science. This is all common sense and common knowledge and common wisdom. You as a parent would be able to do it. If you can't, you have help at hand. I know there are many people who are good with it. For heaven's sake, never ever go to a career counselor. Poor guy, what he has done, he's accumulated a list of jobs that are available for your child and a list of competencies that are required to be successful in the jobs. He is going to marry those and give you a prescription of what education, what industry and what organizations you should look for. Never do that. Poor guy, he is completely inequipped. What I talked about is not career counseling, it's career crafting. You craft the career of your child ground up from the essence of uniqueness of the child. And once you have done that, trust me, it's a lifetime's investment. You don't need to look back. He would be an asset for the world, not just for you. Okay, so we talked about observation, we talked about encouraging dream. The third thing is, can you get the child to look forward? Now this is the most difficult part. I remember I had once asked a child, what do you want to become when you grow old? He said, my dad wants me to become a doctor, my mother wants me to become an engineer, my sister wants me to become a bureaucrat, and one of my uncles, he wants me to be in the foreign services. So nobody has ever asked me this question. Today when you ask me this question, it's a very foreign question. I'm sure you haven't also asked this question, or even if you have asked this question, the answer that you would have got would have been dismissed as one of those foolish, childish responses. No, do that. You will be amazed. You will be surprised by the answers. I'm going to share something very interesting over here. My sister, I don't know why she is not joined today, asked me, what do you want to become when you grow old? I said, I want to be a traffic policeman. So they were very amused. They said, oh, okay, so what do you want to do? I said, no, I just want to control the traffic. And I was so passionate about being a traffic policeman, I had actually cajoled my dad to buy me a whistle. That we were in Lucknow then, and the traffic policeman would carry that long whistle, not the short one. And if anyone was breaking traffic rule, he will blow a long whistle. And whenever I was going out with my dad and my family, and if we were, stopping at a traffic signal, as soon as the signal will go on and our car will start moving, I'll pop my head out and blow the whistle, to the chagrin of many an automobile driver wondering where does the whistle come from. So that was my fascination with becoming a traffic policeman. Now guys, just look at what am I doing today. What am I doing today? Am I not a traffic policeman? Helping you to find your ways, helping you to go in the right direction, making sure that your journey is smooth, making sure that you don't bump into each other and become an obstruction for each other. How amazing it is, right? So the imageries in which the child thinks are far, far richer than the left brain imagery that we are conditioned to believe in because of our jobs. Honor those imageries, build upon them, and you will be able to see what potential this guy carries. So these are some of the ways. Potential mapping and personal discovery, of course, is the most authentic and I would say the most foolproof way of figuring out potential of your children, not just potential but also creating a roadmap. But that would need professional guidance. For that I am at your service, but I am not soliciting. I can help you out with that. I learned it over many decades, I would say. I think now close to 3 decades. I started by doing that on myself. Most of my learning has come through application on my own self, and today it's become very foolproof. A typical potential mapping session takes about half a day, and it takes another half a day to do a roadmap from where I am today to where I can be. So it can be done in 2 half days or maybe 1 full day. It's a very fulfilling, it's a very joyful session. It's done very appreciatively. We don't try and look at what are some of the shadows, what are some of the shortcomings. We look at all the gifts that the child carries, and I think at the end of the day that's what matters. So yeah, that's what I had in terms of how do we figure out potential of our children should we choose to. The question that I would like to leave you with is, do you believe that your child is a class by his own, one amongst many? Do you believe he is one of those 7 billion species in the world? Are you committed to invest in him as an asset and make him shine in the way he is meant to shine? Make him shine with his DNA. Make him shine with his calling. If you are doing service not only to your children, but to the one who has created you and him or her. If you are not, then I think it's time that you first go back to your childhood and find out where it all got messed up, and renew your life once more and live your life as fully, as meaningfully and as joyfully as you can. Thank you so much. I think this was a pretty longish session. Would love to hear from you through comments in the next few days. Till we meet again next Saturday, I would like to personally wish Anuradha, who has been there right from the beginning. Thank you so much. It's very, very heartening to see Anuradha, Madhukar, Sandeep, Prasad, Vikas, Deepak, Renu, Samir, Akansha, Ritadi, Rajiv, Pratima, and of course Pooja being around all through. It's a very humbling experience. I'm just sharing my life's experience. I'm not an authority in any of these, but I can vouch for that whatever I am doing is based on my own potential, is based on my own calling. And the last drop of the juice of my passion is for you and for your children. God bless us, and let us all meet next Saturday again at 9 p.m. Thank you so much for making time. Appreciate a hell of a lot for you all to be here. Without you, this show doesn't have any meaning. Thank you.